Yeah, that's the level of enthusiasm I expect whenever I come on stage. It's just one disappointment after another, let me just tell you. I'd like to welcome you guys. Hello. I'd like to welcome you guys to part 5 of my stand-up comedy series on the United States President, entitled, If He Gets Elected, I'm Leaving the Country. And this part is entitled, Fillmore to Buchanan, the whitest names you know. Now, the great thing about this is that those names get progressively less white as it goes along. You start off Millard Fillmore, which is about as white as a name can be, let's be completely honest. Then you get Franklin Pierce. Sounds like a guy who could be a basketball player. You'd have to really guess when you hear his name. Then you get James Buchanan, who sounds like the lead singer of a funk band. It's James Buchanan and the Ministers. Now, starting with Millard Fillmore, this is a guy who came into the office in the same way as John Tyler, that being the guy before him kind of died, so he was the one that they had to make do with. And it was very apparent that this guy was going to be an interesting president, because he is what I like to call an anti-president. He was anti-everything, and it gets a little less sane as the list goes along. He was anti-slavery. Okay, very good, very progressive for the time. He was anti-immigration. Okay. Kind of makes sense nowadays, considering 100 million people live in this country. We have 50 states to share. We barely had 30 in 1850, and nowhere near 100 million people living here. I think a few immigrants are all right for this time, Millard. Anti-Catholic. Okay, back up, rewind for a second. You're anti-Catholic in a country that prides itself on one of its foundations being freedom of religion, and you are a president. Okay, I think you might need to rethink your strategy here, sir. And the other interesting thing about Millard Fillmore is that he was the last president to have ever been a member of the Whig Party. Yeah, probably good chance that you guys don't know anything about this political party, because they had 4 presidents. And not only was Millard Fillmore the last Whig president, he was the only Whig president to not die in office or get expelled from the party after his term was over. Which a lot of people count that as an accomplishment, but come on, it was 1 in 4. Like, 1 in 4 doesn't even constitute you to be the best basketball team in the preseason. So what hope is that for the Whig Party? And so the Whigs were pretty much gone at this point. And the Democrats were thinking, okay, let's try to get like the least offensive guy we can find. Oh, there's this guy Franklin Pierce. Let's throw him in office. And this ended up being a colossal mistake for a couple of reasons. The main reason being that this guy was just unlucky. This was the most unlucky bastard you could possibly think of. Soon after his election, his vice president died. Okay, hard thing to deal with, but I can manage. Then, his only surviving son was the only casualty in a train accident shortly before his inauguration. Fuck. Okay, I can deal with this. I can cope. As long as I have my loving, supportive wife to be there for me. Isn't that right, honey? It's your fault he's dead! Your ambition killed him, you bastard! Hello, Bottle, my old friend. Franklin Pierce spiraled into a serious state of depression after these horrific things to happen before he even took office. And his way to combat the depression was through alcohol consumption. And I'm going to repeat that. This man battled depression with alcohol. Let's just say this is not the most sane decision you want to do if your job is to be in charge of a country. It's all right for us to drink. We're not having to run any kind of major government goings on or anything like that. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have like a varying difference in that. Like when I drink, oh man. There are 5 phases to when I drink. Phase 1, I have about 2 beers, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm here to have a good time. Let's have a party. Let's just do what we came to do here. Phase 2, I have maybe another beer or a shot of vodka if I'm really feeling up to it. And I start to get a little incoherent. Not in the sense of, but in the sense of you not being able to understand what my fucking point is, such as tonight. And then I get to phase 3, which is just I'm tripping over the air, I'm knocking shit over, trying to fix it and somehow making it worse. Phase 4 is just a continuance of phase 3, because phase 3 involves a lot of regret and a lot of overthinking. And phase 4 is when my brain decides to join the party and say, hey, while we're on the subject of overthinking and regret, you remember that stupid thing you used to do in middle school where you would pretty much stalk every girl that you liked without even knowing it was stalking? Man, those were good times. Phase 5 is just me sitting at a computer listening to Elliott Smith trying to figure out the perfect knot tying technique, because the last time I tried using a belt and the belt ended up, and you people do this for fun? I can't do that. That's why I like pot. With pot, it's one phase. My phase is, what the hell are emotions? That is my experience. There's an occasional second phase if I'm watching something like Breaking Bad, where I'm just like, oh yeah, emotions are those things that you feel for characters right before they die. Fuck. Did that get a little too morbid for you guys? Now, as you can imagine, this entire situation made Franklin Pierce's presidency completely miserable for everyone involved. Because Franklin Pierce was miserable, and he decided that the best way to counteract his misery was to make the country just as miserable as he was. Which is a sound business decision, don't you think? Who cares if the company goes under? I'm just wanting to make sure the employees cry. And that was pretty much one of his biggest problems, was that in 1850 through 1852, the Civil War was just starting to show signs of happening. The issue over slavery was overtaking the country. And what was Franklin Pierce's response to this huge discussion? It is not the job of the executive branch to make a decision on whether slavery is ethical or non-ethical. That is like the principal of a high school that just got shot up saying, not my fucking problem, where's the vodka? And this, as you can understand, led to a lot of conflicts. Not only did he not get reelected, because who the fuck would vote for that guy after that? But he didn't even get his own party's nomination for a second term. How badly do you have to screw up? George H.W. Bush at least got the nomination for the Republican Party when he tried going up against Bill Clinton. How bad do you have to mess up to not get your own party's nomination? So the Democrats, as you can imagine, were desperate. Their last presidential candidate, kind of cuckoo for cocoa nuts. And they decided, you know what? Let's involve James Buchanan in the discussion. James Buchanan could never have been elected president today because of one simple factor. Nobody liked him. He was Andrew Jackson's minister to Russia because Jackson hated him so much. He wanted him as far away from the United States as physically possible. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you talk to. Just get the fuck out of here. Yep. And then, when James K. Polk was president, he made Buchanan his Secretary of State. And the job as a Secretary of State at that time was just get the fuck out of the country. We don't even want to hear from you until a year from now. Just go. And let me just finish, okay? But anyways, James Buchanan was then made the minister to Great Britain. Can you give me 1 second? I'm almost done with the set, okay? He was made the minister to Great Britain. And one of the things he was responsible for was a thing called... give me a sec. This is why I write material down, by the way. Because... oh, the Olmsted Manifesto. Now, the Olmsted Manifesto was a nice little letter to Spain that pretty much said, hey guys, we want to make a deal with you over Cuba. Would you let us purchase it from you? And if you don't, we're going to declare war on your asses. Whoa, whoa, James. Whoa. That is some next level stuff, dude. That would be... is there an equivalency to that? Someone, please, tell me if that's an extortion, is it not? Just going into a country saying, yeah, you got a nice little territory down below Florida. Be ashamed if something happened to it. And that's my set. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Art Zager.
All right. Guys, give it up for Art Zager. Next up on deck, James Fletcher.